Hey folks. Hey folks, Levi here once again. I enjoyed my review last night. Two reviews last night of Justice League Doom. Yesterday, Justice League Doom, and my revisit review for the Avengers 2012, the sixth MCU film, Marvel Cinematic Universe film. And guys, on my YouTube channel, again, remember it's Levi McNally 983 with the mask profile picture. I hope you all like my Spider-Man picture. Spider-Man shirt a little bit here, so it doesn't look too messed up. But anyway, welcome back to another 2010s era superhero reviews. I'm on the last 2000. I've been on the year 2012, and I'm on the last superhero movie 2012. It's not the last superhero movie 2012, but I've already reviewed Superman vs. the Elite, The Dark Knight Rises, and Batman: The Knight Returns. I will share those eventually on the superhero reviews. But anyway, this is a 2012 superhero film, and it is a Spider-Man movie. This is a reboot, of course, after the shitty Spider-Man 3 film, and it stars Andrew Garfield, Emma Stone, Raya Fiennes, I think his name is, uh, Dennis Leary, Sally Field, and Martin Sheen, and that is The Amazing Spider-Man. I don't agree with it being the best Spider-Man yet, but I enjoyed this film. I like The Amazing Spider-Man. I know some of my friends don't like the movie. I know some of them on YouTube don't. They hate this film, and that's fine. But I will say this: I still think this is a better, in my opinion, this is a better film than Spider-Man 3. Yes. Um, I enjoy both Spider-Man films, but I better pick one. Well, I like both equally. I'm talking about Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2 is still the best one, of course, because it had the best story one. A lot of awesome action in it. This film, I have my issues with it, but despite some issues, though, I still think it's entertaining, and I think it's fun to watch. And I'd rather watch this over Spider-Man 3. I don't have Spider-Man 3 on Blu-ray anymore. Yeah. But for this movie, you got the Blu-ray right here, and then disc 2. This is special features, and this is the DVD. Yeah. Sorry about this back in. But again, I enjoy the Amazing Spider-Man film for what it is. I like it. I think it's definitely a lot better than, you know, a lot better than what Sony's come out with their villain movies, especially the Venom movies. I'd rather watch this over the Venom movies. I'd rather watch this over Madam Web, uh, Craven the Hunter, Morbius. This is a lot better than Morbius. And so is Amazing Spider-Man 2. This film I think is underrated, especially the sequel I think is very underrated. Yeah. So if you want to blame this movie, you can blame Sony, but I don't think Sony had much to involvement in this movie. They did with the sequel, but not with the first film, you know. But of course, that you can say they probably rushed this movie or maybe came out with a reboot too quickly when they should have came out with Spider-Man 4. But Spider-Man 4 didn't happen because Sam Raimi, I think, had fallen out with Sony, and Sony did ruin it. But I kind of blame him too because he did write some of the story for Spider-Man 3 and he did direct it, so I do blame some of the blame on him too. Yeah. Now, Spider-Man 2 might be my favorite Spider-Man movie, but this movie has my favorite Spider-Man live action actor, and that is Andrew Garfield. Yes, live act may make fun of me. I don't care. But I think they got the character right with these movies, you know. But that's just my opinion. But anyway, when we get into the production of the movie, production, talk about the cast, who worked on the movie, the plot synopsis, of course, the talk about the movie itself, and then we should maybe some quotes and give my final thoughts on the film. So, development. Following the release of Spider-Man 3, Sony Pictures Entertainment had announced a May 16th release date for Sam Raimi's next film in the earlier series. But at this time, the screenwriters James Vanderbilt, David Lindsay, and Gary Ross had written several rejected versions of a script, and Ziska's husband, Alvin Servant, who co-wrote the second and third films, was working on yet another attempt. Raimi wanted John Malkovich to play his next villain. However, on January 11, 2010, Columbia Pictures Marvel Studios announced that rather than continue the earlier saga, they were going to reboot the series with a new cast and crew. Industry reports claim that Raimi had admitted that he could not meet the scheduled release date and retain creative integrity. Integrity. If you ever met Tillman and Ziggis that continue as producers, Everly explained, we were working on what we call Spider-Man 4, and it was the same team as the first two films. The problem is that we didn't have a story that was strong enough and wanted another movie. And Sam Raimi realized we didn't have a good reason to make another one. And between him and Toby, and obviously the studio, we all went to not to into it not feeling good about the next story. Thomas said one reason to restart the series was that the producers felt that the core Spider-Man story was that of a boy becoming a man. Screenwriter Steve Cole did a polished resurgent script, saying he had originally declined the opportunity to do so, but relented as a favor to the filmmakers. Also, really wanted to write for Emma Stone. his light direct for women, especially like Emma. He explains what I did, basically character and some dialogue, and that was enjoyable for me. So that was my hand in it, and I did a little plot work, but a lot of the plot was done. He did a little bit of dialogue for Peter Parker's Spider-Man. And in particular, the writer director Paul Feig said that the web invited me on set and did a little bit of writing for that movie for one of the high school scenes. When you walk out of theater, I want the world you see to resemble what you saw on the screen. Part of the joy of cinema, you make the impossible look real. Want to be more grounded, more realistic, and that one for the emotion of the scenes. The physical action and wardrobe is less based in Steve Ditko world, probably closer than more influenced Ultimate Spider-Man. It's also very much of a world of our own devising. Days after announcing Raimi's departure, the studio announced that Webb, whose previous film, 500 Days Summer, was his directorial debut, his first movie he would direct the film. The reboot. Catherine Bigelow and David Fincher considered to direct the film. Tom Hanks, now president of Columbia Pictures, I think David Fincher, he directed Alien 3 and Blood, they didn't get him for this movie, but no, I'm just kidding. He's still a good director and even polished. Co-chairman of Sony Pictures Entertainment said they looked for a director who gives sharp focus to Parker's life. Will said he was a little skeptical at first, even the president of those other movies, but when I was like, how can I walk away from this? What an opportunity. Webb said that in the press release announced that Sam Raimi's Virtuous rendering of Spider-Man is a humbling present to follow and build upon. First three films are beloved for good reason, but I think that the Spider-Man trilogy fans into not only generations but directors as well. I am signing on not to take over for Sam. That would be impossible. Not to mention arrogant. I am here because there's an opportunity for ideas, stories, and history that add a new dimension and creative voice to Spider-Man. What if Spider-Man is different from the Harry Potter franchise, which is based on few novels, more like James Bond, because there's so much material in Spider-Man that there are so many stories to tell and so many characters. He described the film as not a remake, explaining that we're not making Sam's movie again. It's a different universe and a different story with different characters. And this is your cast for the movie. Alert. May 2010, the Hollywood Reporter said that the actors who met with Webb to consider the lead role was Jamie Bell. Jamie Bell, I think, who played Ben Grimm in the Fantastic Four 2015 film. Ellen Ersner, Frank Delon, Andrew Garfield, and Josh Hutcherson. In June 2010, the Los Angeles Times reported that the short list had explained to include Aaron Johnson, who played Kick-Ass, of course, in Kick-Ass, and then the late Anta Yoshino, I think, who was in some of the Star Trek movies, in the Friday Night remake. In June 2010, sorry, at least Bell, Eckridge, and Garfield had screen tests. Joan Jonas also auditioned. Yeah, I can't see that. The choice of the was on July 1st, 2010. The choice of Garfield was confirmed. Will said that he felt like he knew Garfield was the right choice when they were filming the casting where he was eating a cheeseburger by telling Gwen to calm down. Garfield said that he got the role after he started to pretend he was auditioning for Spider-Man short film, friends to ease off the pressure. Sony then held the auditions for the role of young Peter, but neither was in Garfield. Webb said, I think we saw the origin of Spider-Man before, but not the origin of Peter Parker. Webb felt that when you try to build the film, you must build the protagonist from the ground up. That's why he wanted Parker to begin as a child. It was reported originally that the film would feature both Mary Jane Watson and Gwen Stacy as love mistress, but the website later reported that Gwen Stacy would just appear, which is a good thing. Because in Spider-Man 3, we had too much of that, and that's why they just didn't do that. The list of candidates included Lily Collins, Emma Roberts, and Mary Elizabeth Winstead, though I think Emma Stone did get the part that she was confirmed. Webb knows that the chemistry between Stone and Garfield made her that clear choice. The chemistry inspired their off-screen romance. I guess they did. And October 11, 2010, Bryce Fans was confirmed to be the unnamed villain, the Blizzard. It was going to be Dylan Baker, who was going to be the in Spider-Man 4. He played Dr. Kirk Connors in Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 3. They're going to originally have him as a lizard, but since those films are canceled, Michael Fassbender was really considered for the role. Thank God he didn't get it, because he was terrible as Magneto, Eric Lensher. Martin Sheen was reported to be Uncle Ben when Sally Field was going to play Aunt May. Phil said that she took the role of Aunt May as a favor to her friend Laura Siskin. That same month, Dennis Slater was reported to accept the role of George Stacy. Campbell Scott and Julie Nixon were negotiating to play Peter's parents. Thomas was really reported as playing Van Aiden until the character's name was released to be Dr. Ralph. Anna Faris was originally reported to play the villain's wife and play Billy Connors, but they did not appear in the final cut of the film, which is fine. Will felt they designed responsible for agreement to Spider-Man. One departure from the trilogy was to have Spider-Man build web shooters as the characters in the comics. Yeah, he does build the Leo Gornick. Organic web shooters. Costume designer Kim Brandt was brought on the project and worked closely with Webb to redesign the costume with realism in mind. The new rotation of the iconic suit featured golden-eye lenses made from sunglasses. The soles of the shoes were made from the cut of running shoes that were painted to match the pattern of the costume. The web shooters and the civilian wristband Peter wears in the film are made from everyday wristwatch parts. The costume also features a fully screen printed hex pattern to make it resemble athletic wear. In February 2011, with the launch of the official website, the title and first imagined Garfield Spider-Man both this costume and web shooters for the first time were revealed. Writer Geo Putcher of the Los Angeles Times was skeptical of the change, feeling that it was too hard to believe that trapped young men could convince a wrist or a device that can simply produce a stand of synthetic webbing, and noted the suit lives up to the challenge of being different from the Sam Raimi films, but not too different from the classic suit that stands as one of the greatest comic costumes ever. It's not like this though, like the spider suit. Yeah, this is what the suit looks like. I'll get more into that later. I'm gonna talk about it right now. Matt Goldberg admitted that he was not crazy about the costume, explaining that the bug yellow eyes felt weird to him and the mesh pattern too busy. He explained that they designed the gloves caused flashbacks to the Spider-Man 2029 costume, which he did not like. Although he felt the web shooters looked fine, Webb explained that he felt that the web shooters were able to traumatize viewers intelligent. Webb paid attention to the question of how would a kid make it, and how it took him some license with it. About the new costume, Webb explained that he and the crew wanted a design that would make the rider longer, more length. More of an acrobat, someone agility in the legs of the spider, revealed that the film used varying suits for different lighting conditions. They made the webbing on the costume a little darker. Webb started that costume and the web shoes were wanted to phase that those things that the Peter Parker made. Webb also looked at the Mark Bagley art in the Ultimate Spider-Man for the hero's body. While Webb introduced a few elements from Ultimate Spider-Man, he wanted to keep the mainstream version of Gwen Stacy instead of the world's punk rocker. Though he says that the texture of the romantic relationship between her and Peter is based on that of versions of Peter and Mary Jane. The release of Blizzard merchandise designs along with concept art featuring a human shape with a layer of scales on top instead of a pronounced snout. Many comments compared to other fictionals, looking more like Steve Ditko. Fergus did some Spider-Man stories of his own. Rogue felt that there are different incarnations of the Lizard in the comic book. He felt that he should do it without the snout. He was just more into human emotions and wanted to keep Whereas presence in the creature, which is fine. Now people complain. Who gives a crap he doesn't have a snout? Why does that even matter? He stated that in the comic book, he just put the thing up, and you can say, oh, the bubble, whatever. But when you try to do the challenge, it makes it look real. It's a different challenge. Webb wanted to do something that felt more coming over less based on the comics. Discusses using some of the knowledge creating. Some of the film locations were in New York, were near the East River, close to Williamsburg Bridge for the movie. Prince Robert from the film began on December 6, 2010. Working title was Rihanna's Tale. The night issue includes 2 weeks in New York City. The bulk of filming occurred around Los Angeles, including such locations as the Henry Fonda Theater in Hollywood, St. John Bosco's High School gym, and Mel Crispin Church in Wild Wilshire and Woodland Hills. Sunday Times spokesman Steve said there is a comfort level producing a project this size on scope in your own backlot. Some locations shooting took place in New York City. The film was the first Hollywood production to be filmed with a red digital cinema camera company's red Epic camera. It was shot in 3D. In April 2011, Stone revealed that the cinematography had wrapped up and that the post-production began in May. For the Stunts website, that him and the crew wanted to keep the stunts more grounded physically. The stunt performers included the Armstrong family, the SWAT team member. Stromberg was the stunt coordinator, while Vic was the second unit director to determine how Spider-Man should swing. Andy videotaped Olympic game gymnast swinging on a horse on board, and he knows that in the computer-generated swing in the early Spider-Man films, he swings down at the same speed as he swings. Vic felt that Spider-Man's moves were compared to those of Tarzan. He wanted to add that in the film. While filming New York City, they swung a man through traffic down the street. Then, while the crew built a rig hundreds of feet long on the Riverside Drive in Harlem, and he built a car, which required critical health of acrobats. These rigs were over 300 feet long and spent months of rehearsals and design. For the effects, the company, the Czech of Burbank, California, produced some of the equipment. The film was supposed to be the first to adopt 3 digital TS5 wireless and 2D to 3D conversation. Webb wanted a new 3D experience for Spider-Man. The Vancouver branch of Science Pictures and Measurements was responsible for the digital touch-up. Yeah. And usually, with the budget, they worked on the effects for this movie. But they all can't hear that. May not play that. James Horner scored the film. Yeah. And for the marketing, the merchandise, Spider-Man stunt double. She's a Hardy's Carl Jr. commercial promoting the film. Yeah. They brought you, of course, you got the trailer, you got the, they had trailer 1, 2, and 3 for the marketing. You, of course, Hardy's, Carl Jr.'s, they had some food out for the movie. Uh, I guess some stuff resembling the film, just to help market it. I think the first Spider-Man from 2002 also had Hardy's experiment. Yeah, just some marketing for the film. Yeah, they had Spider-Man Kellogg's. Spider-Man was on cereals. Yeah, yeah, and there was and there was also a video game. Yes, they had a video game for the movie, just like for the first three movies. I played the game on the Wii. I remember playing the game on the Wii. Didn't get rid of web swing, but you had to fight villains. You got to fight Rhino, and of course the lizard at the end of the game. You got to fight Alistair Smythe and a robot at the end of the movie. End of the game, I mean. For gameplay though, on the Amazing Spider-Man third-person video game, players can take control of Spider-Man, complete missions. The missions are restricted to limit a minute, but the player is free to explore the game's map in between missions, engage in activities. The game is on PlayStation 3, PlayStation Vita, Wii, Xbox 360, and Microsoft Windows. Spider-Man will attack immediately, or just like Spider-Man will throw out enemies. You have a few seconds long Spider-Man to web them in order to subdue them for good. The combat takes place from the Batman Arkham cities, from Rocksteady Studios, Batman Arkham Asylum, Batman Arkham City. And I remember enjoying playing the game on the Wii. I do have the on PS4. I have the Amazing Spider-Man 2. Haven't played that in a while. Need to. it takes this game takes months after the events of the film. Peter Parker and Stacy get into Oscorp. Kurt Connors, the story. He breaks Connors out of prison. Yeah, and of course you have to fight the Lizard again. So it just takes a couple months after this movie, after the events of the film. But for the cast of the movie, you have Andrew Garfield as Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone. You have Andrew Garfield as Peter Parker Spider-Man, a gifted yet inverted teenager struggling to find his place in life ever since his parents died when he was a child. Peter Jason, then he eventually becomes Spider-Man after getting bitten by a radioactive spider. And Max Charles plays a young Peter Parker. Let's see, Andrew Garfield. He was in the Amazing Spider-Man 2, and he did reprise the role of Spider-Man and Spider-Man No Way Home. And he was in the Social Network. I do like Tobias Answer. I do like him in Hacksaw Ridge. He was great in that. That was based on a true story. Yeah, I think he's a good actor, but that's just my opinion. Yeah, so he played Desmond Doss. I'm definitely going to do a review for that sometime. Uh, Max Charles. Let's see. The only movie I think I've seen him in is other than this was it film. Let's see, 2012. Okay, yeah, he was in Three Stooges. Not a good movie. And of course, he played young Peter Parker again in The Amazing Spider-Man 2. He voiced Sherman, Mr. Peabody, and Sherman. Scooby-Doo Shaggy's Showdown. Wish Dragon was his last movie, so I guess he's done making films. I don't know. And Emma Stone is Gwen Stacy. She's a high school classmate of Peter's and a love interest, of course. She's a chief intern at Oscorp. Emma Stone's done some movies herself. I think she was in The House Bunny with Anna Faris. She played Corella, of course. Yeah. Easy A is that movie called, I think? Yeah. She was in Zombieland. Ghost of Girlfriend's Past, which I'm definitely planning to review for that. She was funny in that movie. She was in Superbad as well. Paperman. And movie 43, which is awful. Yeah, from what I heard it is. But I like Emma Stone. Good actress. Rise fans Dr. Kirk Connor's The Lizard. He's one of Walcott's leading scientific minds and former partner Peter's late father, Richard Parker. He attempts to revolutionary regeneration serum cross species to help regrow limbs and human tissue. He tries to he and Dr. Connors does not have an arm. He lost his arm like I think in the war. I think the character did. Yeah. Or something like that of Connor's history, and he wants to get his arm back. But he transforms himself into the lizard. And Dennis Leary is George Stacy, who's Gwen's father. He's the police captain who hunts by Spider-Man at distrust in the lizard for his rampage. Right, expensive. Let's see. Uh, Says he was in the Harry Potter films, Deathly Hallows Part 1, The Kingsman, Spider-Man No Way Home. Yeah. He was also in Little Nicky as Adrian. Oh, yeah, he was the villain in Little Nicky. Yeah. And that film sucks, at least I think, in my opinion. And of course, this film, I think he did The Replacements. I think that was a comedy, somewhere in the 2000s. Yeah. With Keanu Reeves. But he did respire his role of Dr. Cook as a lizard in Spider-Man No Way Home. In his delivery as George Stacy. He was in Operation Dumbo Drop. He was in Small Soldiers from 1998. He was in Demolition Man with Stallone. He was in Little Weapon 1, like I said, Demolition Man. And I basically just remember him growing up watching Small Soldiers. I remember him in that as Gil Mars. And he was in A Bug's Life. He voiced Francis. So, yeah. He was good in that. Yeah, Ice Age The Meltdown. In Ice Age, he voices Diego. And in the sequels, yeah. Oh, yeah, they're going to make an Ice Age 6. Can't wait for that. Nope. And Campbell Scott as Richard Parker. Here's a father is a businessman and scientist who worked for Oscorp. He did some research with Kirk Connors. Campbell Scott, he was also in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, responding to the role. Can't think of any other movie. Oh yeah, he was in Jurassic World Domain. Did he play in Jurassic World Domain? Dodson? Was it Dodson? Let's see. When the heck did that damn movie come out? Jurassic World Domain come out? Oh, Dodson. Yeah, Dodson. We got a Dodson here. I'm just kidding. Yeah, the same character from the 1993 film. From my Harris character, like Dennis Nerdy, gets killed off by well, I just saw a clip of it on YouTube. Gets killed off by the Dilophosaurus, but not just one, a couple of them. Ivan Khan as Richard E. Roth, Raja Ratha, an Oscar executive, Connor's immediate supervisor. Career. Don't know if I've seen him in any movies, but he's pretty good in here. Passed away back in 2018. Oh, a good actor though. Can't say I've seen him in anything else but this. And Martin Sheen as Ben Proctor, who was Peter's uncle and Richard's brother. Martin Sheen's in other movies as well, but he did another superhero movie. It was Spawn from 1997, and that film was awful. You want to talk about bad CGI? I mean, that film had it, yeah. His character was dumb in that movie. You know. He was in the California Kid, The American President, Catch Me If You Can, playing Amy Adams' dad in that movie. It's been quite a bit, and of course, his son is Charlie Sheen. Sally Field is May Parker. Y'all should know her. She was in Smokey and the Bandit and Smokey and the Bandit Part Two with Burt Reynolds and the late Burt Reynolds and Jerry Reed. Yeah, and the late Jerry Reed too. He was placed in the heart. Smokey and the Bandit Part Two, which came out in 1980. Kiss Me Goodbye, Stone Magnus, Soap Dish, Mrs. Doubtfire. Of course, you know her from Mrs. Doubtfire and Forrest Gump. Daniel. the whole time. No, I'm sorry. I'm just kind of trying to imitate her when she, when Robin when his massive his fire falls off, she's like, and he gets mad. But yeah, Sally Field's a great actress. And Chris Zucker portrays Flash Thompson, who's a high school bully. He was alright. I prefer the guy in the original movie. Yeah, he's alright. Like Michael Massey, who portrayed, who did the voice work for Doctor Bruce Banner in the Ultimate Avengers animated films, Ultimate Avengers the movie and Ultimate Avengers 2, Rise of the Panther. Yeah, Michael Massey. I think he was the guy who accidentally shot Brandon Lee on the set of. Yeah, sadly passed away. He fired the shot that accidentally killed Lee, so he was in the superhero movie, The Crow, and I think he was also in Catwoman with Holly Berry. Yeah, terrible film. And he voiced Bruce Banner. And he did a voice work for Underdog, too, another superhero film, and in this movie. And he was the gentleman, yeah, character. Yeah. And they do have a Dennis Carey character in this movie who kills Uncle Ben. Spoiler alert. Yeah. Yeah. The film did premiere in Tokyo on June 30th, 2012, and it was released in the United States on July 3rd, 10 years after the release of Spider-Man 2002. It received positive reviews from film critics who praised its performances, the chemistry between Stone and Garfield, direction, action sequences, can't really talk, visual effects, and visual musical score. While its plot elements drew some criticism. I could agree with some of the plot points maybe, but anyway, the film is directed by Mark Webb, who I thought did a good job. Yeah. Who directed Video Days of Summer, The Basic Summer 2, Snow White from, oh my god, he's directing the 2005 that remake. I'm not seeing that. I'd rather have him do Amazing Spider-Man 3. That's just me. The screenplay is by James Vanderbilt. He wrote the script for Independent Day Resurgence and Scream 2022. Which, yeah, you're probably thinking those movies are not good. They're not. I haven't seen Ready or Not. Let's see. Ready or Not? Kind of curious to see that movie because I like that actress from The Babysitter movie. Scream 6. Yeah, they weren't good. Murder Mystery 2. I haven't seen Murder Mystery 2. Yeah, but some of his film critics I haven't seen and some that I have seen were not very good. Alan Javerna is also a screenwriter. Yeah, he also wrote the script for Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 3, and Spider-Man 3 is terrible, but may rest in peace. You know, yeah, he's been doing movies since the 60s. He wrote What About Bob, co-written with Florence Siskin, Spider-Man 2002 and Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 3, he did co-write with Sam Raimi's brother, and again, that film still sucks. I still hate Spider-Man 3. And Steve Kobes also does the script writing. The Fabulous Baker Boys, I think that was with the Jeff Bridges, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Beaver Bridges. Flesh and Bone, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. He wrote the scripts. He wrote scripts for a lot of the Harry Potter franchise and the Fantastic Beasts, which I think are like sequels or something, spin-offs of Harry Potter. I guess I don't know. And the stories by James Vanderbilt. Space and Spider-Man by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. Produced by Lauren Siskin, who passed away passed away at the age of 61, 2011. Wow. She wrote the script, I guess, for or produced Pretty Woman, starring Richard Gere and Julia Roberts. She also produced the other Spider-Man movies, Spider-Man 2002, Spider-Man 2, and Spider-Man 3, and this movie. Yeah. Any other movies? Not that I've seen. Stealth from 2005 with Josh Lucas and Jamie Foxx and Jessica Biel. Yeah. As Good as It Gets, starring Jack Nicholson and Greg Kinnear and Helen Hunt and Cuba Gooding Jr. And it's produced by Avi Edward, who's been producing Marvel movies since Blade 1998. So, say what you will about this movie, even though it's not from the MCU, it's still Marvel. Matt Tillema also was a producer on the film. He's produced this film, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle, Oh gosh, from 2018, Venom of the Morbius. Oh gosh, and Last Dance, Craven the Hunter. Yeah, those films are awful. Not the Amazing Spider-Man 2, I'm talking about the Venom movies and stuff, and Jumanji films. Yeah, cinematography by Joan Schwartzman. Who did give the cinematography, I think, with this movie? He did the cinematography for. Oh, no, it's not that kind of movie. Benny and Joan, Airheads, that stars Adam Sandler, Brendan Fraser, and Steve Buscemi. That's an underrated movie. The Rock, starring the late Sean Connery and Nicolas Cage, and Ed Harris. And The Rookie. Was that? Okay, that was a Disney movie with Dennis Quaid. Good movie. 50 Shades Darker, and don't want to see that movie. Saving Mr. Banks, starring Tom Hanks. The Founder, starring Michael Keaton. And Jurassic World Domain. Did some cinematography for that. Ellen. It's edited by Alan Everbill, who edited the Amazing Spider-Man, the Hunger Games films, the comebacks, and yeah, and Pedro Scala, who did JFK, G.I. Jane, Good Will Hunting, who did some of the cinematography. I mean, sorry, editing for that movie. Those editing for those movies. Gladiator, the first one. Kick-Ass in 2010. The Martian, which was 13-Hour Secret of Benghazi. The Secret Soldiers of Benghazi. Alien Covenant, a solo Star Wars story, and Morbius. Music by James Horner, who did music for Aliens, American Tail. I know he passed away sadly. So sad that some people that worked on this movie actually passed or are gone now, but that's just life sometimes. I think James Horner died in a car crash. No, it was a plane crash. Sorry, but he did music for Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, Apollo 13, A Beautiful Mind. I said Aliens. He did the music for The Rocketeer. Let's see. Uh, sorry. Yeah. Let's see. 80s. 48 Hours. He did the music for that, starring Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte. Coral. Cocoon. Aliens, awesome movie. Number two, the best Aliens movie is that one, in my opinion. Red Heat, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger and James Belushi. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, he did the music over that. Another 48 Hours. The Rocketeer, which is another superhero film. The Man Without a Face, We're Back, A Dinosaur Story, which I enjoy that movie. Casper, love Casper. Jumanji, I'm talking about the road Jumanji from 1995. Balto, 1995, good movie, underrated. The Mask of Zorro, another superhero movie, I would say. My Joe Young, I love his score for that. And Bicentennial Man. The Perfect Storm, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Uh, Radio, 2003. The Forgotten Flight Plan. Yeah. And of course, this film. Yeah. So he did score The Rocketeer and The Master of Zorro. Other superhero, I would call those superhero films, but that's just me. Production companies are Columbia Pictures, Marvel Entertainment, Lawrence Siskey Productions, Avery Productions Inc., Matt Tumlick Productions, is shipped by Sony Pictures Releasing. It was released July 3rd, 2012. Yeah, I saw this a couple months after I graduated high school. Yeah. Yeah, well, it was July. It was like a month after, I guess. 2 months after. But anyway, because I think I saw it sometime later in July. But anyway, budget was $230 million. Box office made $758 million worldwide. So it made money. Excuse me. It was a hit. All right. And so for the plot of the movie, the plot synopsis for The Amazing Spider-Man, the film is 2 hours 16 minutes long. That's not too bad, I think. But the story of The Amazing Spider-Man is that this time Peter, abandoned by his parents and raised by his aunt and uncle, Uncle Ben and Aunt May, Peter Parker, teenager Peter, he grows up to be a teenager. He's trying to sort out who he is and exactly what his feelings are for his first crush, Gwen Stacy. When Peter finds a mysterious briefcase that was his father's, he pursues a quest to solve his parents' disappearance. His search takes him to Oscorp in the lab of Dr. Kirk Connors, setting him on a collision course with Connors. Well, Connors, he helps him do some experimenting, trying to find out more about his father. Meanwhile, Peter gets bitten by a spider, and his destiny is to become Spider-Man. And the cops don't trust him, but he's trying to do some good, trying to learn how to use his powers, trying to. Uncle Ben gets killed, spoiler alert. And even though he's helping Kirk Connors, it sets him on a collision course with Connors. And Connors, of course, who wants to get his arm back. does puts the serum in himself, and he becomes. You see it. He eventually becomes the lizard, and so, and as the lizard, he wants to basically mutate all of New York City with the serum that he's been given, and return the people into reptiles. But he thinks he's saving people, that human beings are weak, and it could kill a lot of people. It could kill most of wipe out half of New York City. So with great power comes great responsibility. So Spider-Man, Peter has to, as Spider-Man, of course, stop him and defeat him and take him down and save the day. Yeah, and save New York City. So there will be spoilers in this video. I'll go ahead and talk about the movie itself. And then after I talk about myself, I'll maybe read some quotes and get my final opinion. 136 minutes. Okay. Like I said, I think this is better than the Sony villain movies like Venom, and it's better than some of the MCU movies. I'd rather watch this over the Eternals, but that's just me. I'd rather watch this over X Men First Class, X Men Apocalypse, and X Men Dark Phoenix, but that's just me. You know, that's just me personally saying that. And I would say it's one of the worst superhero. No, I've been through this whole superhero marathon, and I can tell you it's better than some. It's better than Howard the Duck, in my opinion. It's better than, yeah, I think Swamp Thing, the first Swamp Thing movie. The sequel was fun and cheesy though. In '90s, it's better than Turbo Power Rangers a movie. It's better than Spawn and Still. It's better than Tank Girl, at least in my opinion. And from 2000, it's better than Electra, Catwoman from 2004. Yeah, and it's better than Blade Trinity, in my opinion. Yeah, so, and it's better than some of those Marvel movies, in my opinion. Yeah, and I think it's gonna be better than what Marvel's gonna be coming out with next. Like Thunderbolts, I'd rather watch this over Thunderbolts or Avengers Doomsday, Avengers, whatever the heck they're calling it now. Oh, Toby's coming back. Yay, and Toby's over what, 50 something this year old? Like, we don't need that. No, no. But anyway, I'm going to talk about the Amazing Spider-Man itself. Uh, movie starts out with, and I love the music score by James Horner. Da, 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 da. I thought the music score was good. I thought it was great. Yes, great, great. I thought it was good. I liked it more than Danny Elfman. Yes, I said that. But don't get me wrong, I love Danny Elfman's score to Batman and Batman Returns, and even Dick Tracy. But his score for Spider-Man, I mean, I do like some parts of it, especially in Spider-Man 2. Like the farewell at the end of the first movie, that's good. But the opening, it just didn't feel like Spider-Man to me. Now, don't get me wrong, the opening titles for both Spider-Man 1 and 2 are good. Even Spider-Man 3 has good opening titles. I do love Christopher Young's score for Spider-Man 3. It does add a little bit of Danny Elfman in there, but I do like his scores like for the Sandman, and for Venom. But still, I think James Horner did a good job. Yes, you know, it's like da 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 da, but he changes up a bit with da 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 da. So it's kind of like a familiar Spider-Man thing to me with like the '60s cartoon a little bit. You know, then it's like a different version from the '90s version. Da 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 da, but he just changes it up a bit. And I know Danny Elfman always says that, yeah, I think in this Frighteners, he did the music score for that with the Peter Jackson. He always says that he copies sometimes. And James Horner just repeats himself too sometimes. I think Danny Elfman has an issue of doing that too. But again, may James Horner rest in peace. I'm not saying that just because he died. I really liked his score for the film. It's probably my favorite Spidey score. I know people are gonna be mad, but whatever. I do like some of Danny Elfman's score, but I just don't think he completely fits the character. Yeah. It's not his fault how they did the suit, though. Can't blame him on that. But anyway, but the Amazing Spider-Man opens up with that good score by James Horner. Then you get a young Peter Parker. He's playing hide and seek. He's stumbling upon his father's story. He's just literally like, "For dinner, here it come." And Peter's just looking around trying to find his dad. I think like a TV show's on, like Brother Freeman or whatever. Peter goes on his father's studies. And apparently his father's study was ransacked. Somebody broke in. Richard sees it, and he says, "Mary, Mary," and Mary grabs. It says, "Peter, it's okay, it's okay." Then he takes along some documents. Uh, the guy who played Peter's father did a really good job, and they talk to Uncle Ben and Aunt May, which I guess it didn't address that in the movie. But I'm guessing Ben is his brother. That doesn't make sense. And they left there to continue the research under the care of Ben and May. He never gets a word from his parents. They just leave him. They have to abandon him for a good reason. They said, "But we'll be back." He's like, "Dad, I want to come back with you." And he's like, "No, Peter, I'm sorry. You can't. You gotta stay here." Well, he just tells him, "You gotta stay here. Your Uncle Ben and Aunt May are gonna look after you." And he's like, the mayor to see them gone. And then we get to many years later. He's a teenager, of course, played by Andrew Garfield. I mean, I like Toby as Peter Parker in the first movie and second movie, and I like Andrew as Andrew Garfield as Andrew as Peter too, because I like that he was an outcast. He has no friends. He's shy. You know, he has a basketball thrown in his head. He's like, "Well, thanks, Flash." And I was like, "Yeah, how'd you like that part?" He's like, "Yeah, that was cool, Flash." And he stares at Gwen Stacy. He's got a camera. He takes a picture of her. He says it's a little awkward, but okay. He's at the door trying to say, "Hey, what are you doing later?" He's like, "I'm nothing. I'm doing nothing later." He's like, you know, I know people complain about riding skateboard. But I liked him riding a skateboard. I thought that was cool. But he takes a picture. She's like, "Well, can you take care of my take pictures of my boyfriend's course?" Like, "Yeah, I'll check my old schedule." Goes outside and Flash is picking on a guy. Flash is picking on Ken Sharma. He was like, she's like, "Parker, take the picture." He's like, put him down, Flash." You know, and Flash beats him up. And you might say he has SP, but again, he doesn't have his powers yet, so he does get a bit of a beating from him. He knocks down Peter for the felony. It's a fellow student who's picking on. He gets to clinic. Gwen Stacy tells him to go away. Gwen Stacy's like, "You got somewhere to be, like train, like you need some work, so go away, Flash." And what I like though, when Andrew and Emma have good chemistry, although you could say Gwen Stacy's popular, she's a nice and sweet girl. She's like, hey, Peter's like, "Hey, I know your name. Just tell me your name." There's just like banter between them, and it's cute. It's very, romantic. I think because they have good, sweet chemistry. I mean, yeah, in the first Spider-Man film, there's a little chemistry there when they're talking about the school play and stuff. But problem with especially the biggest problem with Sam Raimi's Spider-Man films is there is no chemistry between, you know, Peter and Mary Jane, between Toby and uh, Kristen Dunst. Yeah, there's no chemistry at all, and I don't even like Kristen. I like Emma Stone better. Don't get me wrong, I do think, in my opinion, I would say uh, Kristen Stun- Kristen Dunst is a lot more hotter, gorgeous, but Emma Stone's cute too, and she's good in this movie. It's not just about looks; it's about performance to me, especially. I mean, yeah, of course, I want a beautiful woman, of course, to be a good actress and stuff. But Emma's good, and they have good chemistry. There's that sweet banter between them. Peter goes home afterwards, though, sees Uncle Ben Aunt May, and May's like, "Well, where's the food here?" And or something. He's like, "Oh, Peter, what happened to your face?" He's like, I fell off my skateboard." And Ben says he needs help with his drain pipe, and he's like, "I know." He's like, "Whose parents I need to call?" I was like, "Come on, I know what a left hook when I see, a left hook when I see one." You know, he's like, "It's nothing, nothing I can't handle, Uncle Ben. I'll be okay." And they're gonna go upstairs. They're gonna have meatloaf for dinner, and Peter sees his father, RP on it. Initials that is Richard Parker, Peter's dad. He's like, he looks at it. He's like, "Who is this man in the picture?" And like, "Well, we don't know." And she's like, and May and them know. They just don't. I used to say they're just protecting Peter. She's like, get this briefcase off the table. We need to go eat dinner. Go wash your hands." And Ben's like, going, looking at each other. Peter's in his room. He's looking at the pictures and all this stuff. And Uncle Ben knocks on the door. Was like, "Look, Peter, we know how you're feeling." And that's a picture of a pretty girl. He's got like, because she's in the debate class. He's got a picture of, Gwen Stacy. And he says, "Peter, the man in the picture, that is Dr. Kurt Connors. Kurt Connors. He worked with your dad." But I was cool. And Peter starts to want to investigate that. Peter searches information about his dad and Richard and Connor's work, which leads him that they were doing like cross species serum science stuff. But what I love about this movie, we do get to see the scientist that Peter Parker is. You know how smart he is, which they never played on that. I mean, yeah, in the movie he was just more. I hate to say it, but Peter. I mean, I do. Again, in the first two movies, I like Toby, but we don't see the scientific side of him. You see him talk nerdily, you see him talk about scientists, but we never see him actually do anything scientific enough. Maybe see it in the video games, but not in the movies. You know, but he finds his parents died due to a plane crash. Peter locates him in Oscorp Industries. Famous German started to go there. Peter sees Oscorp. He's like, and this lady was like, "What? What?" He was like, "You're here for the internship?" Yes. Your badge is on the left. He's like, "You have trouble finding?" Oh no, badge. You know, good luck. You know, thank you. You know, it's a Spanish name. He's like, "Gracias." Their name. She says something like, "I guess like you're welcome" in language. He gets the actual intern dragged out of the Oscorp. He locates Dr. Connors, explains what they're doing there. You know, even though Gwen Stacy's there, she's an intern there as well. She sees that Peter's name is on there. He's not supposed to be there. He tells them that the species are right about the cross species. How gills and fish can work together, and he's impressed by that. He's like, "You are." He's like, "Well, you're a bright student." And he somewhat seems to recognize Peter because again he knew his father, but he does not know yet that it's Peter Parker. And Emma, not Emma, Emma Gwen walks up to him and says, "What are you doing here?" Well, please, you're gonna get me fired. You're gonna get me in trouble. Peter goes up to Dashwood's intern. He runs into this guy who is uh, Ravka. I can't say the guy's name right, but he's like his boss. He sees him as a paper and he tries to hand. He's like, "Sorry about that." Peter touches these webs. Just looks at the webs and all the spiders farms. And one of the spiders get on his neck. One of the modified spiders, which is a radioactive spider, on his back into it. Well, he gets into a negotiation with Gwen, and she sees him and she's like, "Give me a badge. Now, come on. Now, he's like, I'm sorry." Of course, she walks like he gets bit by a spider, like, "Ah." And that's when he gets his powers. And Peter goes on the train, he's sleeping. Some homeless man sees him sleeping on the train, has a beer bottle, puts the beer bottle on his head. Peter, like with Spider-Man, seeing, starts doubling down. He hits it, and he jumps off of the roof, the top of the train, like this. And he gets this woman. She's like, "I'm all wet now." And he's like, I'm sorry." He's like, "Hey, stop touching her." But his hands are sticky, and he accidentally. And the thing about what I love about these movies is that this movie is that Peter can't control his powers. In the Sam Raimi films, okay, you can say that. Well, you know what? In the Sam Raimi films, I felt it was easy for Peter to control his powers. It seemed like it was just so darn easy, except web swinging. That was only. But in here, he can't control his strength. A little bit. He's got to say what, and then they try to attack him. He can sense their moves prior to he knocks down. Like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Yeah, goes home, eats some meatloaf, and they're like, "Wow, why's he acting like that?" And Aunt May's like, "He's eating my meatloaf. That's strange. That's weird." It's like Uncle Ben's like, "Yeah, it's weird because nobody likes your meatloaf." She's like, "If you never liked my meatloaf after 37 years, Ben, you could have just told me that after 37 years." I thought that was funny. Peter goes to sleep. And like I say, he can't show his strength. He hears the alarm going off. He punches the alarm, breaks it, tries to make brush his teeth, pushes a bunch of toothpaste on the mirror, gets some of it there, and he breaks the sink. Because again, he can't control his powers. That's what I liked about that. It was difficult for him to control his powers. In the Raimi films, it seemed easy. And I hate to say it, but that scene was stupid. He's like, "Fly, fly, and away, web, fly, shazam, shazam." Yeah, the well, web, web coming out of his hands for real. That was just. That was gross. I had to say a little bit. I'm sorry. You know, but we don't get to the organic web shooters yet. Peter's looking at spider bites. I guess seeing that way he can like sense the spider because spiders like have, I guess spiders have senses too, and he's building senses. He's like, I'm seeing the spider crawl on the wall. He can hear certain things. And I know people complain, but since he has the powers, he says get back at Flash. People complain about the basketball scene, but I was always okay with it. I thought it was funny. It gets to get to see the smart, wise ass he would become. Spider Man is a wise ass. He's like, he's like, come on, Parker, give the ball away. He's a jerk to push the ball in the paint, doing it on purpose to bug this girl. He's like, Flash, just come take it away from me. Like, Flash, take it away from me. He's like, nope, boom, and then whams him in the face. Almost hits him in the back. He's like, take it. And they can't grab it. There's the basket, and he slams the ball, and it was like some girl, her ball gun pops out of her mouth. And it was like, and he gets in trouble. And it's like, I'm not worried about the damn backyard or whatever. He's like, you feel good about yourself. So, but he's like, Uncle Ben, this guy deserved it. And he's like, oh, so you deserved it, huh? Because you thought, you got even up shit, pushes you feel better about yourself, huh? But what's wrong with what you did, Peter? And he sends when Stacy staring. He's like, is that the girl? He's like, and then Uncle Ben embarrasses him by yelling at Sam. Gwen Stacy says to Gwen, he's like, he's got a picture of you on his computer. I'm his probation officer. And then I thought that was hilarious. I remember people laughing at theaters. And not Ben. I'm talking about him and Emma. Him and Gwen talk. He's like, maybe come hang out with me later. We can hang out sometime. And I just thought it was some sweet chemistry there. It's just banter going on between them, romantic banter going on between, which I liked, with them joking around with each other. You know, what I liked about it, even though you can say Mary Jane was popular and didn't want to talk to Peter, or having to wave at him here, and then spoken to friends, making him look foolish. I'm like, at least this one, Gwen Stacy, she doesn't come off I'm so popular, I'm better than people attitude. She at least she's a nice, sweet girl. And you know what? This is what I love about Emma Stone in these movies. She doesn't come off as a bitch or annoying. And her and Peter don't argue. They have sweet chemistry. That's what I liked about this movie. Even if you hate this film, absolutely hate it, you can't tell me Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone didn't have good chemistry. Yeah. But he makes plans with her, goes on some skateboard riding, some good music score. The song is playing. And I like the whole thing around skateboard. He's doing tricks with it. That he can ride up on a forklift with it. And he's riding on the chains, like swinging, like, what you would do eventually as Spider Man. He's like, yelling just for fun. And then later on, he meets well, Uncle Ben tells him that you're going to learn some responsibility. He's just trying to teach Peter responsibility. There's like, you're going, because you're a little stunt, you're going to have to pick up your Aunt May at 9 o'clock. He's like, is that understood? Is that understood? He's like, yes, sir. And after that, he goes meets Kurt Connors, and they do the test. Uncle Ben's calling him, but he's ignoring it. They're working on cross species. They created a serum that will soon be called the lizard serum, a recipe to help regenerate lost limbs from many species, humans including. Peter aids Connors in testing the serum in a small lab rat with 3 legs. Is it, yeah, because Peter accidentally, well, I forgot to mention earlier, Peter talks to him about this equation. He comes to his home and he tells him that he's Richard Park's son. He's like, Peter, I'm sorry, I can't, no, I don't know what happened after that night he disappeared. You know, it was a day before that he disappeared and I never heard from him again. And they talk and he shows him about the scientist, writes it down. He's like, how'd you know that? He's like, just knew it. And he's like, and he sees that, yeah, I like seeing Peter doing some science stuff. And he basically creates the formula, helps equating it or whatever science freaking thing you have named for it. Yeah, and you see Peter doing some scientist work a little bit, cross species. And Uncle Ben's like, Peter, what are you doing up there? Like just working. You know, that's what we didn't get Raimi's films. Yeah. Yes, we know he's smart and he's a dweeb in the Raimi films, but we never see any actual scientist stuff. You know, he has to either go to Connors or Otto Octavius about it, just to talk about it, and even find out about the symbiote, which he could have looked up himself, like he did in this Spider-Man '90s cartoon. You see Spider-Man doing some science stuff as well, and being a wise ass, which is the character. It is always necessary for the character to be the character, you know. Yeah. And Connors thanks Peter for it though, and he walks home. Uncle Ben waits on the porch, and Uncle Ben tells him that you forgot. He's like, Peter, you forgot. You should apologize. Like, you don't. I'm gonna make this boy apologize. And he's like, Peter. He's like, no, Ben, no, Ben. He's like, no, May, you shouldn't be walking by yourself. They fuss about, don't defend this boy. I'm like, don't defend him. And Emmy's like, I'm perfectly capable of walking by myself, Ben. They argue, and he's like, your father, wanted responsibility, teach you about responsibility, growth, and all that, about learning to be responsible. He's like, well, where is he, huh? He's like, what? Where does he tell me this himself? Where's my father? Why didn't he tell me this himself? Being a jerk is like, well, how dare you, Alan? No, how dare you? Judge me on that because my father wasn't here because he abandoned me. Peter just walks away, slams the door, breaks the glass. He's like, Peter, he's like, Ben, just let him cool off. He's like, and he's like, Peter, and Peter's on the, on top of a roof where they can't see him. He's like on top of a little bit of a building, maybe like 3 inches down from Ben, and Ben's looking for him to find Peter just to have a talk with him. Tries to call him, but Peter ignores his calls. Leaves him messages though. But Peter goes to get a drink. You know, it's like $1.50 or something like that. But Peter doesn't have enough money. I guess it was that. I don't remember. Yeah, he wants to buy the child milk for 2 cents, but he's too short to complete his purchase. So take some money, and the guy's like, "No, you can't do it. You can't pay. You hold on my line, buddy. Get out of the way." The guy's being a prick. But then you have Dennis Carradine walks up, and he throws Peter the beer, and the guy tells him not my policy, and the guy robs him. He's like, "Hey man, can you help me? Help me here." He's like, "Not my policy." And Uncle Ben, I do think they handled in the Raimi films Uncle Ben's death a lot more. The origin is different here, which is fine with me. It's more about Peter's past, about Peter Parker's past himself, not Spider-Man, and I'm fine with that. But they do have him do the wrestling and arguing with Uncle Ben with the great power responsibility. I didn't need to hear it. I already know that he's trying to teach Peter responsibility. It seems like Ben knows about his Spider-Man ability, his spider abilities, and he's just trying to teach responsibility. But I didn't need to hear that again. You can't really do that twice again because you've already heard it once. You don't need to hear it. I don't need to hear it again. But anyway, Uncle Ben was killed by Dennis Carrity in the Sam Raimi films, but by Sandman, which was stupid in Spider-Man 3. But at least in here, it was Dennis Carrity who killed him. Carradine drops the gun. Uncle Ben tries to go for it. I get it. You can say it was stupid for Uncle Ben. Yeah, I was trying to grab the gun. I'm like, you're a bit of an old man, and this is a young guy who's a little quicker and faster than you. Eventually, he shoots Uncle Ben, and it is sad, but it's not as emotional as the Raimi one, just in my opinion. You know, yeah, I would say that Raimi did that better in his film, but don't is that I felt more emotion in that scene. Police talk to them and say, "We're sorry, man. We're gonna find this guy." And Peter gets a picture of him. Peter dresses himself in sunglasses and a red ski mask. Well, this is what it looks like at first. He's like, "Hey, you like the Beetle Man? You gonna kill me too, huh?" And he beats up on some guys. Goes away. Falls down in a building that lands him in a boxing ring. He sees a mask, and this guy says, "I seen your face." Then he puts the red ski mask on just to fly and web around, just to get away from the guy. To get away from well, not to get away. Then you have Dennis Leary's Kevin Stacy saying this guy's an amateur, and see him webbing up a guy, webbing up criminals that he's beating up on. trying to find the ring, and then we get to the scene where he's building the organic web shooters and shows his mask and his costume. And again, the suit, which again, this isn't my probably, it's not, it's my second least favorite suit. My least favorite suit though was when Tom Holland wears the suit at the end of Spider-Man Homecoming. Yeah, when he in his fight with Vulture, I thought that was super sucks. We see a little bit in Captain America: Civil War, and we see it in Spider-Man No Homecoming when he builds it. I'm like, Tom Holland Spider-Man cannot build his own suit, so he is a bit of an Iron Man's Iron Boy basically. Yeah, but in here, Peter builds his own suit. Now the suit in the second movie is better, but I don't think this is the worst suit. No, it's in Spider-Man Homecoming. I'm talking about the suit, that he wears at the end in his last fight with the Vulture in the climax. I never liked that suit with the big old goggles and stuff and the jacket. Yeah, no, never worked for me. He makes the costume, makes the mask, the lenses. And you see him flying. Yeah, CGI, that's good. He's flying. And he's just standing in the city with a backpack and he gets a call from Aunt May. He's like, okay, pick up some eggs. Sure. And of course, he builds the spandex. And he builds the web shooters, which is in the comics as well, and in the Spider-Man anime series. Peter calls up Gwen's building at night because she invited him over for dinner. You know, well, first, everybody's looking at Peter because he's sad, and Flash tries to talk to him, and he grabs Flash. Flash like, it feels better. I'm sorry about your uncle. I'm sorry about your uncle. She hugs him. Peter eventually crosses Gwen's building. She invites him over for dinner. You know, he goes to dinner with their family, and Captain Stacy accidentally walks in. Her father is, of course, George Stacy, who's captain of the New York Police Department. And they talk. He's like, "We haven't arrested Spider-Man yet, but we're going to. He's an amateur." And he says, "I saw this video on there. Oh, you saw a video on the internet." And they argue. He's like, "Some of the police can't. We think we just, eat donuts and put our thumbs up our ass all day." He's like, "You put your thumbs up your what, Dad?" I thought that was funny when the kid said that. And they can argue. He's like, "I'm sorry, sir. I didn't mean to disrespect you." They walk away, and he's like, I gotta tell you something, but I can't. He's like, you're not gonna tell me. Then he webs her, and then they both share a kiss. Meanwhile, though, Kurt Connors gets visited by his superior, telling him he's gonna shut him down and take his business away from him. And not wanting that to happen, he gets the serum, shoots himself with the serum, and he gets the arm back, his arm. But there are complications, and he starts to grow into being a reptile, a lizard. Yeah, that's when he gets his arm. But the side effects are terrible. He becomes a human lizard. He tries to call his boss, but it doesn't work. Tries to find him at the Brooklyn Bridge, but he loses it. He gets mad. He becomes the Lizard. The Lizard tries to kill the boss, and when Peter is after sharing a kiss with Gwen, that he flies off. Because he hears the spider sense going off, spider sense tingling. Puts on his Spider-Man suit. Doesn't fight the Lizard first, which is a good thing because these people are in danger. You know, and yeah, you can say I know people say the CGI is very dismal now, which doesn't matter to me. I didn't mind CGI. Spider-Man No Way Home, all that movie is a CGI and is awful CGI. Yes, in my opinion, Spider-Man No Way Home, the CGI in that was terrible. And first of all, the Green Goblin suit I'm talking about, it's a Power Ranger suit. So I don't know what people are bitching about. That looks silly. That looks stupid. But they complain about, oh, it's bad CGI. I don't think it was that bad. But anyway, Peter saves the people. He saves the kid. He lets the lizard get away. But for a good reason, because it's more important for him to save the people, because that's his responsibility. That's what a hero would do when he saves this kid named Jake, takes his mask off. Just does it to keep it calm down that he's just a normal guy like him, just a guy in a mask trying to save him. He gives the kid, it'll make you strong, and it works. He saves the kid, and the dad thanks him. He's like, "Who are you?" He's like, "I'm Spider Man." Yeah, but before that, well, um, he goes to Connors ends up in the sewers. He's going to do more tests on him. He's more losing his mind. He wants to badly regrow his arm, and Peter talks to him and says, "Hey, Doc, I need to talk to you about crossover species, about this lizard creature, how reptiles act, that they can be aggressive." And Peter sees that he did some experimenting on the rat, and the rat changed, and he realized that Dr. Connors is the lizard. Tries to talk to George Stacy, but George Stacy's like, "Oh, he's the lizard." Yeah. Do I look like the mayor took to you? Okay, Peter. You're gonna go back to school. I'm gonna go back to the world. You're gonna go be the friends of Tokyo. Okay. Bye bye. But then he summed up. He was like, "Just look him up. Just call him in. Just do something. Trust me. Please, you have to believe me." And then he tells the detectives, look up information on him, Dr. Curtis Connors. Here goes home to his aunt. They truly have financial trouble, after Ben died, and he's like, "Just go to sleep, Aunt May. Go to sleep." He's like, "I can't go to sleep, Peter." Peter, secrets just they have a cost. You know, that secrets cost some trouble for you. You know, tells him she loves him and she wants him just to be safe. And he realizes that, he's walking after that. He realizes that he might be in the sewer, so he puts on a Spider-Man suit. Spider-Man uh, goes into the sewers, webs across the sewers, the whole of the sewers, plays a little game on his phone, just waiting for a dink or dinkle or just a movement. And he sees movements. The lizard can probably smell that he's there. Dr. Gergon puts more of a serum in himself, injects himself with the serum, becomes the lizard again. And although Spider-Man puts his mask on, is waiting, trying to lead where this noise is going. But the lizard is up behind him, was like, they attack Spider-Man. He's like, "You're not gonna stop me. I'm growing stronger every day." And Spider-Man fight more. Spider-Man's able to get into the water. Spider-Man tries to web out, but his web shooters go out of the water. As soon as I was, the breathing. Of course, the lizard can breathe in water, I guess, and he's okay. But Peter leaves his camera up there, which is one thing I say that he does stupid. It says the property of Peter Parker. So maybe, dude, when you have a camera, you're gonna take pictures of Spider-Man. Don't put your name on the camera. But he does, and the lizard's like Peter Parker, and knows his identity right away. And at least I'll give Toby this in the first movie. At least he was smart enough to keep his identity. It's not like he put on the camera property of Peter Parker. I don't think, at least, Toby never did that. Yeah. Yeah. It was a vibration I was talking about. Yeah. Um, Peter goes back to school though, but yeah, and I don't hate the look of the lizard. I know some people do. I thought it was good CGI for what it was. This is my opinion. The lizard enters the halls. The students flee. All of them run out there. Peter fights them. Wasn't and he pushes Peter. Peter strong enough to throw him into a classroom. And he's like, "Nowhere to hide, Peter." And he's trying to scratch at him. And throws Peter away. He puts a Spider-Man suit on when he pushes him into a brick wall. And he's like, "Peter, I can save them. I can save them all." He throws something on his head. And he's like, tries to reason like, "This ain't you, Doc. You're not making sense." And puts up a good fight with him. And nearly crushes his face. But what I loved about it, Gwen Stacy, she isn't. She's not a damsel in distress ever in these movies. Mary Jane is a damsel in distress in all three Raimi's movies. In this movie, though, she wants to go and fight the enemy. She grabs a trophy, hits him in the head with it. He's like, "Gwen!" He's about to attack her. But Spider-Man stops. Spider-Man just webs his ass, which I thought was cool. He webs his ass. He webs him. I thought that was awesome. Okay, why couldn't Peter Parker? Well, I mean, when he gets mad. But I wish he would web the villain up. But that was cool. He webs him up. He's like, "You don't want to talk? Okay," and he jokes around, of course, which I like that dialogue. And then they fight scene that was his old man. Listen, the old man is actually Stan Lee behind them. And after they fight, I mean, well, fight, he's like, you know, he throws him out of there, but webs her up, webs her, in the stomach so she can not fall get hurt. And it's like someone's been a bad lizard. and they fight more. Uh, Captain Stacy lunches a manhunt for Spider-Man and Lizard, but after they, I don't remember who wins the fight, but eventually, the Lizard goes back in the sewers, try to get the rest of his stuff. You know, after Peter fights him, though, he goes and fights him off. The Lizard goes away. You know, and Peter searches in the school, sees where he came from, and goes in the sewers and sees what he's doing more, and finds out he's planning to wipe out the whole city with this serum that he could probably kill or harm a lot of people, wipe out half of New York City. So he's got to stop him. He calls Gwen and tells her to go to Oscorp. It's great. Can you make a serum? You know that will get will make him better. Just in case when we need it. And she does that. Peter eventually gets out of the sewers. Spider-Man does. He goes like, "Get out of the Connor's on his way right now." He's like, "You mother effing thing, you better." And Lizard goes on his way. The cops shoot at the Lizard, but Lizard ends up fine. Lizard attacks them with a spray with the serum, turns the cops into lizards themselves. Spider-Man's web slinging. Oh, I forgot to mention. I forgot to mention the damn car scene. I'm sorry. There's a car scene where the guy breaks in. He's like, "Dude, if you want to be a car thief, don't steal cars. Don't dress like a car thief, dude." So you don't go with webs the car. He's like, "Yeah, go out the front door. Yeah, that's smart." And he's like, "Oh, I'm right here." He's like, "I'm with a knife." And he's like, "Is that a knife? A knife? No, you found my knife. You found my weakness. It's small knives. Oh, oh." And then webs him. He's like, "Bam, bam." And then Spider-Man jumps up on him, tries to find the ring. He's like, "The boys in blue here." I like it when he tapped the card, the car the car stealer, the car thief, was saying crotch shot. He police tries to shoot at him, but he's able to get the gun away from him. Like, I did you 90% of your job for you. And at first, yeah, he's running and he's web swinging the first time, which is a good shot. And anyway, back to the story where the lizards headed to Oscorp to put the serum in. Spider-Man is web slinging him, but the cops see him. They shoot at him. Well, they try to shoot at him. Spider-Man goes away, but they shoot a taser at him. You know, knock him out. Spidey finally, you know, they remove the mask, takes his mask off. Peter moves fast and is able to knock out some of the cops until Stacy points a gun at him. He tells them that his daughter's in trouble with Oscorp and that the lizard plans on making all sense of near human-like creatures like him by releasing a chemical cloud from the top. Like I said, when the lizard has the serum here. Once to the right, he found Gwen, but she's out of reaction. She sprays him. She's hiding. She gets everybody out of there. And like a badass, she sprays him with it, but he just grabs something that he needs as an attack. Gwen. He acquires his serum elite, at least for it. But that was badass though. That she didn't need Spider-Man swinging to her. He probably could have hurt him if she sprayed him in the face. The lizard goes to the antenna, but Spider-Man, well, the cop, Stacy lets him go, but the cop shoot at his leg, and the kid that he saved earlier when he was Spider-Man, and the cars from dying, the guy decides to help him, and they build the crane. And really good music score where he's web slinging, awesome music by James Horner. He gets the lizard's carrying it, and Spider-Man, kicks him. They fight briefly. He's able to take the lizard down. Lizard grabs him, takes his mask off, and says, "Peter Parker, poor Peter Parker. No uncle, no father, no mother. All alone, Peter Parker." And then Captain Stacy shows up. Spider-Man shoots him like with a freeze gun or whatever, like a freeze pipe or whatever, and they fight him and they shoot him down. He's like, "I got this. Here's the serum. Gift from Gwen." And he goes, puts it in there. He's unmasked, of course, but doesn't matter. Lizard jumps up there. Lizard stabs towards, Captain Stacy. And Stacy walks, not Stacy, but Lizard tries to go up there. Spider-Man puts the serum in, and it gets Connors back to his regular self. The antenna falls. Peter nearly falls to his death. He can't make it, but not Gwen. Dr. Connors who comes back to being himself after being injected from the lizard. He's like, Captain, George Stacy, the captain. And he's like, Peter, here's your mask, take this. Peter, I was wrong about you. You're a good man. You'll be a real good hero. You'll make enemies, and you might lose some friends, and you'll deal with a lot of pain. Promise me, keep going at it. He's like, I promise. And he cries and he yells and he's sad about that, but realizing that, with great power comes great responsibility, that he needs to be Spider Man. There's Stacy's funeral. Peter's is saddened, which is saddened by Stacy's wish. Peter respects it. She just thought Peter's not my father died. You weren't there. Where were you at? It's like, we can't see each other nor is it. He made you promise anything. He did. She walks away and Emily's like, isn't that a pretty girl? I'm not good enough for her. I was like, Peter Parker, you're good. If anybody has a problem with that, they can talk to me. And he also gives her eggs and they share a hug. Peter's slacking off an assignment, but he shows the teacher who will get the job done. She's like, don't make promise you can't keep, Mr. Parker. And he sits down in front of Gwen. He's like, but those are the best kind. What the hell? He gives a hint that they'll be together in the months to come. Shortly thereafter this, he goes to be a Spider-Man. Flies off and flies at the camera, waves at the camera. Then you have post-credit scene with Connors in a mental institution fired from Moscow for his acts as a lizard. Speaks with mysterious person who asks, which is Michael Massey's character, if he told the truth about his father. Connors was no, and demands Peter to be left alone. The man's shadows is gone. Possibly, the man could have been an illusion all along. Yeah, and that's the end of the Amazing Spider-Man. Maybe I'll read some quotes real quick. Peter, what's going on? Do you have any idea what you really are? Ready to play God? Who keeps doing this to you? You stop me once, you not stop me, and I'm getting stronger every day. Nowhere to hide, Peter. All these souls lost and alone. I can save them. I can cure them. There's no reason to stop me, Peter. Oh yeah, he gets a phone call from Uncle Ben in a voicemail. Peter, I know things have been difficult lately, and I'm sorry about that. I think I know what you're feeling. Even since you were a little boy, you've been living so many unresolved things. But take it from an old man, those things send us down the road and make us who we are. And if anyone is destined for greatness, it's you, son. You owe the world your gifts. You just have to figure out how to use them and know wherever they are take you, will always be there. So come on, Peter. You're my hero, and I love you. You know, basically telling him that he knows he's probably Spider-Man, or going to be. Saying great power comes responsibility. It's hinting at that. But anyway, I'm not gonna read too many quotes from the movie, but let me get my final opinion on the Amazing Spider-Man. I'm sorry for the long review. I'm about to be done. But again, I love this movie. I think it's very underrated. I think I like the sequel a little more. But that's just me because the sequel's more lighter. It's not my realistic approach. He said did it with the suit. You know, but first of all, I think the story's good. It's about the story of Peter Parker himself. I like the mystery of his parents a bit. We could have played more into that a little bit with more of the mystery of his parents. We do get to see Peter being a scientist, being an outcast, which I liked him being an outcast in here. You know, but I thought that that his film had a story and how he becomes Spider-Man along the way. I don't mind the suit. Like I said, the suit looks terrible in Spider-Man: Homecoming. I'm talking about the end of the climax when he fights him. I get it. It's not about the suit that makes Spider-Man, but the guy behind the mask. And I think Andrew did a good job of that. I think he's funny. Like the car scene where he's like, "You smell my weakness, it's small knives." That was funny. I think he's funny a lot. He's got a lot of humor. He runs his mouth off a lot, talks a lot. Toby was very quiet as Spider-Man, and you need a Spider-Man that jokes around a little more. You know, he's a wise ass character, and he's a scientist. He's very nerdy. You know, and he loves science, and that's Spider-Man. It totally reminds me of the '90s Spider-Man. Um, but first of all, I do think him and Emma Stone, they both have great chemistry. Can't see a picture of her here. Sorry. Well, if I can move this, you can. She's very pretty. You know, and I think Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone, they have good chemistry. But a lot better than Spider-Man 3, where Mary Jane's a bitch in that movie, and their chemistry is just flat. It just falls flat, and it sucks. They don't have no chemistry. But these two do. I like Dennis Leary as your Stacey. I think he did a good job, and Martin Sheen did a great. And Martin Sheen I thought was good. Sue me. Martin Sheen and Sally Field, they were good. They were fine, but I do prefer uh, the late Cliff Robertson as Uncle Ben more. But that's just me. Martin Sheen still did good. At least he's better here than he was in Spawn. Sally Field was good in here too. I thought she was good at May. She's better than Marissa Tomei. Marissa Tomei is hot as Aunt May, but Aunt May needs to be older, not a hot to trot mama. You know, what for me said, but she's basically hot to trot, a hottie, and I'm like, you don't really need that for Aunt May. That was a little awkward. And those in Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, I'm like, okay. I mean, don't get me wrong, Mr. J's a beautiful woman. She's a good Aunt May, but I prefer. But my favorite is Rosemary Harris, who I think is in her late 90s nowadays and a very good actress. You know, and Sally Field does fine, but the rest of the cast I think is pretty good. The action scenes are well shot. I think the visual effects look really good. Spider-Man's flying; it looks really good. It could look bad CGI, but it was actually pretty good. And I didn't mind the suit. Again, it's just him starting as Spider-Man. So, hey, even Tom Holland, I hate to say it, when he started off as Spider-Man, he had the shitty looking suit. I'm sorry, and he had to have help from Tony Stark to give him a suit. Not this Spider-Man. He don't need your help. He can build his own suit. He builds a better suit. At least he gets a better suit in Amazing Spider-Man 2, and we see that suit again in Spider-Man No Way Home. Yeah, yeah. Garfield I thought did good. As Peter Parker, but I like him more as Spider-Man. I thought he did a great job as Spidey. And the direction, the action scene was good, and at least the critics liked the musical score, yeah, which I agree. I love the music score. Oh, even Roger Ebert called it the second best within the Spider-Man film franchise after Spider-Man 2. Wow. I can't say that. I call it the third best. I would say third best because I still prefer the original movie, having an origin story that's a little better. But the origin story is good here. They just don't play on it too much. I do wish that they went with that more, but I get it because it's running time. But and we could have got more in that, a lot more in the sequel, but we didn't because they were trying to force us into it. We'll get more in that. We'll get to the Amazing Spider-Man 2 review. Okay, guys. But anyway, I think Mark Webb did a good job directing. He knows the characters. The writing was good. I thought the story I thought by James Renwick was good. Cinematography, the editing, I thought the action scenes were well shot and real good. And I love the music score by James Renwick. I do think it's better than any Elfman's. Sorry. It's probably my favorite Spidey score. And the movie's 136 minutes long. It didn't feel like it for 60 minutes. It went by at a good pace. It had a good enough story. I didn't get bored. Yeah, yeah. And the film is not nostalgia, and at least Iron Man's not in it. I didn't need Iron Man Tony Stark in this movie. I don't need Spider-Man to be trained by Iron Man. Okay? Yeah, he's not an Iron Boy. And I'm sorry to say that about Tom Holland, but to me, he is an Iron Boy, Iron Man Jr. And he is not. Andrew is great. Andrew to me is my favorite live-action Spider-Man film. I like the Super more Amazing Spider-Man 2 though. But despite that, good movie. I enjoy it. Underrated movie. I don't get the hate for it. You can probably say maybe the whole thing with it making realistic with the suit. You didn't need to make it realistic. It's a comic book. Do better on the suit. They do within the second movie. They worked on the suit. That's one thing you can improve on. And again, improve on the story a little more. Just improvements on those. Those are my only issues with the movie. And at least have a scene where you can have Uncle Ben and Aunt May there. At least have him die in a better way, not in a stupidity way. Uncle Ben's death was seen was handled poorly. But I do think there was a lot of good dialogue there, and I thought Andrew did a good job. When he was emotional, I bought it. He's not crying and whining, and I like that he loves being Spider-Man. Him and Emma have great chemistry. It's basically the best thing about this movie is their sweet chemistry, sweet romance. Yeah, it is almost like a love story, and it works like that. But superhero films, they're not action movies. So, and the scene when we talk about the bite, talking about being Spider-Man, he catches the football, there's the football, hits it on the touchdown post, he not hits it, but still. And the basketball scene, yeah, you can probably say that was dumb, but that was fun. But it's a comic book film. It's supposed to be fun. And some scenes are supposed to be ridiculous because it's a comic book movie. Sometimes it works, and sometimes this here works. But my rating for the Amazing Spider-Man 1 from 2012, my last 2012 review, by the way, is a 4 to 5 stars, a thumbs up, and my rating for this film is 4 to 5 stars. And I will say this, it is a lot better than Spider-Man 3. I still say that's the worst Spider-Man film ever, in my opinion. The Amazing Spider-Man 1, my rating for this film, once again, is 4 to 5 stars and thumbs up. Thumbs up. Tell me, guys, what you think of this movie down below. Do you like it? Do you hate it? And if you disagree with me, that's fine. We can agree to disagree. Alright, guys, now I'm moving into my 2013 superhero reviews. By the way, I will be adding some movies to the superhero reviews playlist, including, it should be 3 movies. You'll see. I think it'll be, the, let's see, after this, it'll be The Dark Knight Rises, Batman Dark Knight Returns Part 1 and Part 2, I think. And then this is another revisit review for the 7th MCU movie, starring Robert Downey Jr., Gwyneth Paltrow, Don Cheadle, Guy Pearce, and Ben Kingsley. And hopefully I get to review this today. That is a revisit review for Iron Man 3. So Iron Man 3 will be next. So stay tuned for this revisit review for Iron Man 3. Yeah, yes. Starting with the year, we are starting with the new year, not the new year, another year. We're starting with the year now, 2013. Movies that came out in 2013, yeah, which was not a good year for movies, but Iron Man 3, we start with Iron Man 3, which I think was on May 3rd when this came out, yeah. But that's Iron Man 3. And tell me, guys, what you think of the Amazing Spider-Man? Do you prefer Tobey Maguire? Who's your favorite actor to play Spider-Man? To be Spider-Man, mine is Andrew Garfield. I know a lot of you use Tobey. Don't get me wrong, I'm nostalgic for Tobey. I like him as Peter Parker, and I love his Spider-Man suit. His Spider-Man suit is a lot better than this. But his Spider-Man, I think, needed to be mature. But he's a good Peter Parker, though. But not in the third movie. Third movie, I thought his performance freaking sucked. I don't blame him on that. I blame Sony and the writers and the director on that. Yes. But anyway, guys, tell me, what do you think of the Amazing Spider-Man films? Do you think they're underrated like I do? I say I prefer Amazing Spider-Man 2 over this. If you like these movies, guys, tell me in the comments. And you think they're underrated like I do? Tell me in the comments down below. What do you think of this film and the second movie, in your opinion? Do you like it more than Tom Holland? Do you like this film and Amazing Spider-Man 2 more than Tom Holland movies? I'm sure there's people out there who hate the Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. I'm sure there are. But do you like it or not? But we all have a different opinion. And what is your favorite Spider-Man trilogy? The Raimi trilogy, which most of you say yes, or the Amazing Spider-Man trilogy, Mark Webb trilogy, or Tom Holland Spider-Man trilogy? Whatever who directed those movies, I'm not gonna mention, but I'm not really at this time. But again, just let me know that, guys. And my rating for this film once again is 4 to 5 stars. And thumbs up for the Amazing Spider-Man. And stay tuned for my revisit review for Iron Man 3. So see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. See you later. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.